Hello and welcome to another Reviews That Don't Matter with Jessica Hitt. My name is Jessica Hitt and today we're doing something a little different. We're not doing a movie. What? Yeah, we're actually doing a review of the first full season of Riverdale. So let's just get into it. Honestly, when I started Riverdale, I was a little bit skeptical. I watched the first episode, really liked it, watched the second one, liked it even more, and I was like, okay, this could be really cool. It had a really interesting twist on this sort of like teen soap opera that kind of had some feels of like, you know, the teen soap opera that you would have seen on CW before this, which would have been like a Gossip Girl or One Tree Hill or terrible 90210. But what they did was take these really incredibly good-looking young actors to be teenagers and they put in a murder. So when I tell people about this in real life, I like to say it's actually this weird mix of Pretty Little Liars and Twin Peaks, which the creators of Riverdale have said that Twin Peaks is an inspiration for the show. You can totally tell. Like, it's so easy. The palette of this show is really appealing to the eyes, and it almost doesn't feel like it belongs in our reality. Almost like it's like a slightly different alternate reality, which I'm totally there for, and I think that's kind of what they're gonna have to go with, because I know eventually down the line in season 2 they will be bringing in Sabrina the Teenage Witch from Greendale, because Greendale is the opposite of Riverdale, which is where we are in this, hint the name. So you have the core 4 of the show. Of course you have Archie Andrews, played by KJ Apa, who is the weakest of the core 4. I still like him, but he still pisses me off. Like, in like the first 2 episodes, it's all about how Betty has this like unrequited love for Archie, and she tells him, and he like flat out just is like, no, we're just friends. And you know, I mean, it obviously hurts him. This is his best friend, you know? And it's funny because during the entire thing, like, everyone's kind of focused on this murder, and he's just sitting there like strumming his guitar and like, I want to play music and do football. Like, nobody cares about this at all. They really don't. Sorry. But by the end of this, when Betty is happy with her soulmate, is what they call each other, he is like, well, I just kind of always thought that we would end up together. I'm like, you literally turned her down like a couple weeks previous to this moment in your life. Like, what is going on with your head, Archie? Especially when you got something going on with Veronica, the second of the core 4, who is newer to this town of Riverdale. Her parents met there, they moved, she's from Manhattan or something like that, Upper East Side, you know. And she's kind of like this reformed mean girl who's trying to be a good person, and she's, it's hard to say by far the best of the core 4, because I think that, well, not each of them, but 3 of them have their moments, but she is consistently a great character. Like, I don't think there was a weak episode in the bunch for her, and it's played by Camila Mendez, who is new, and she just straight out of college, I think. She's fantastic. I really like her. She does a fantastic job of, like, she could be a cold stone bitch, but so likable, and it's really, really great. And I like how she's kind of like, she was in the real world with Archie and like doing the singing and stuff and being there for him, and then also getting involved in the murder aspect of the story as well. Also, let's focus on the fact that she chose Betty over Archie in the first couple episodes. When she was attracted to him, she was like, no, Betty is my OTP. She's the one that I need to be friends with. I don't need to be with you. We can stop what we're doing. I appreciate that, because I hate love triangles. I hate love triangles in shows. I just do. They're boring. We've seen enough of them. Go away, please. Which, of course, brings us to number 3 of the core 4, which is Betty, played by Lily Reinhart, who is also a newbie. Actually, all 3 of those guys are noobs, except for KJ Apa, who was pretty big in New Zealand, I believe, but not, of course, in America. Lily Reinhart plays Betty Cooper, who has by far, well, not by far, but she has one of the most terrible home lives. That is, like, it's weird because it's like, it's this fake home life that seems perfect on the outside, but is so messed up And it's interesting that you have the dad, who just at first kind of seems like the dad who like doesn't get involved in anything and like doesn't care about anything. Turns out to be a grade A asshole. Then you have the mom, who everyone hated to start out with, and by the end of the series, people were like, I actually kind of like her. And then you have this missing sister that you eventually get to meet, who I still think there's something a little whack going on with her. I don't trust her fully. And then you got Betty, who's just like supposed to be this all-American girl who is so not, she's not that girl next door. She's got a real bad dark side to it. Which brings us to Jughead Jones III, played by Cole Sprouse. You might know him as Cody from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, or The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody on Deck. Took a break from the acting that he's been doing since he was the young age of, I think, 5 when he was on Friends. Of course he did like Big Daddy and all that kind of stuff. But he went to college, he came back, he did this, and I think he's actually really great in this role. I think Jughead is an interesting character. I think he's a good character, but he's also a little bit like woe is me, kind of. Like if I knew him in real life, I feel like he'd piss me off a lot because he's always so miserable. And it's just like, he's like this dark, tormented soul, and it's just like a little much in my opinion. But I think it's, well, I don't know. I really liked him in this first season, but I feel like at the end of the last episode, it felt a little bit like I wasn't gonna necessarily like what's happening in season 2 with him and the Southside Serpents. So we'll see what happens. Of course, you do have some of the outliers. You have all of the parents, who I actually think the parents' storylines were almost just as interesting as the teen storylines, which is great. You have some really good actors being the parents who you can tell are just trying their best and not doing so well. And then you have, of course, the Blossoms, who I would probably say rank above the Coopers as the most messed up family in Riverdale. Jason Blossom is the one who is dead. He is the one that people are trying to solve the murder of. And then you have Cheryl Blossom, who is this really like devilishly awesome character who's very reminiscent of a early Blair Waldorf mixed with Lydia Martin just for the red hair. But I don't want her to turn into like a hero type. I want her to just be the mean person, the villain almost of the entire series. That's what I want. I don't want to see too many redemption arcs for her. I don't want her to become best friends with the core 4. I don't need that. I want her to be a bit off to the side and like kind of always being with them, but like they're not necessarily friends. That's what I like. So the character work is really fantastic in this show, as well as the visuals and the storyline. I think the murder of Jason Blossom is super interesting. There are a couple of slower episodes in the middle of the season, but the first couple and the last couple are really good. I would say the last 4 episodes are really fantastic and really interesting, and they pull you in, and I was very sad that it was done. But it's obviously renewed for season 2, so I'm very excited for that. I am not excited for the fact that it's going to be like a 20 episode season. I love shorter seasons. I think that it's a much better flow of a story arc, in my opinion. Things like Stranger Things, which has like 8 or 10 episodes or something like that. You know, you can actually tell a long movie almost. And I think that's why I like Riverdale so much, because it was a mid-season that went, and it's already over. And now we get in the fall, I believe, and it's gonna be all through the year. So we'll see how I like it, but I'm really high on this first season of Riverdale. I would probably give it a B+, and I would urge people to watch it because it's different than what you think, especially if you're a fan of the stuff like Twilight Zone or Twin Peaks, or just like a little bit of creep in your shows, and it can get very melodramatic. It can, I'm not gonna lie, it's the CW, it's gonna be like that, but it's good CW. Okay everybody, that is my review of Riverdale Season 1. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me if you happen to have watched it, what you thought of it, or if you plan on watching it, or what you've heard about it. Anything would be nice, you know. Also, don't forget to subscribe. I try to put out videos as much as possible. Sorry, I was on a trip and also sick, so I didn't. But I'm feeling better now. So I will see you guys tomorrow with my Guardians of the Galaxy 2 review. So bye!